Hello everyone, my name is Professor Albert Nigrin. I'm the Executive Director and the Curator of the New Jersey International Film Festival, and we're very proud to have our 29th annual taking place between May 31st and June 9th. That's when we'll be doing the competition film screenings. They'll be on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sunday evenings. There'll be double bills on Saturdays and Sundays at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And then we have a wonderful added benefit where Marissa Nadler is going to be coming to do a concert for us on June 15th. It's a dream come true for me because I'm a huge fan, and she's going to be coming to New Jersey from Nashville to do a show for us. So it should be really a wonderful festival. You want to get information about our program, you go to njfilmfest.com and click on current events and click that red tickets button, which will bounce you to our Eventive website, because we're presenting the films online and in person. And that way you can come to the in-person show, or you can just watch it online, or you can do what some crazy people have done, is watch the film during the day and then come in the evening to the in-person screening so they can interact with the filmmakers. Now, this is part of our Filmmaker Q&A series. We have two wonderful filmmakers here, and they're going to be talking to you about their excellent animated short called Shame on You. And it sounds like it could be some type of other movie, but it's really about debt and how it impacts on people in the United States. And we have Jeffrey Himpele here, as well as, he's the director, and the executive producer is Fred Wherry. And they're going to be talking about their wonderful film to you for the next 10 minutes or so. So I guess I'm going to ask the executive producer the first question, because Jeffrey said, it's your baby. So what does he mean by that?
Oh, so that basically means that I woke up one morning with a concern because we had been tracking debt collection cases in the courts, and soon realized that there are millions of these cases that go through our courts for small amounts of money, relatively small. A lot of them are under $2,000. And a lot of people were getting their wages garnished, losing 25% of their paychecks. Some of them were getting their bank accounts frozen, liens put on their houses, and it was often a shock to them. And so we wanted to both continue to track what was happening in the nation's county courts and municipal courts. We also wanted to humanize it. And so I called Jeff and I said, you know how to do this sort of thing. What can we do?
So Jeff, what did you say? You said, yeah, I'm in.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the recent in a series of projects that Fred and I have collaborated on, where we're trying to humanize and kind of give a person-centered view of some of the data related to debt. We had worked on student debt burdens and the racial disparities in that previously together, trying to visualize that data and the scholarship on that. So in this instance, what we really wanted to do is to plunge into the data and see what the experience of being pursued by debt collectors is like. As Fred can explain, it's so common in the United States that most people who see our film will know someone or have experience being pursued by a debt collector. But no one talks about it. And that's because what we've seen and learned through our interviews is that shame is a really important part of that experience.
You don't want anybody to know.
Exactly. People don't want to talk about it. But what we've also seen is that, as the film shows, it's really that shame that perpetuates this system and operating, because people don't go to court. And so there's a lot of people who don't have lawyers, or they don't show up at all, and so there's a default judgment against them. So we really wanted to get at the experience of this and enable people to talk about it freely without shame.
Now, this project is based out of Princeton University. So tell us about how that all came to be. I mean, you're working on this project, and did you have to go to the university for money, or did you go for outside sources for money? We got to ask the executive producer, because he's the money man. So,
thankfully, Princeton provided seed funds for the debt collection lab that's based at Princeton, but we work very closely with law professors on several different campuses who are co-leads on this. And what we wanted to do is make sure that we could provide a public-facing resource. So a lot of times people think about research as something that happens in these journals that no one reads. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to provide something that advocates, journalists, judges even could look at and say, what are we doing? What are our judgments doing, and how is it affecting people in different neighborhoods rather differently? So why are we having these hot spots of lots of cases in this neighborhood and this census tract, but very few cases in these other census tracts?
So it's a tool that's really got a multi-purpose approach. It's meant to educate the general public, but also to educate those people that are in the trenches doing this work, which I think is really admirable. One of our judges really found your film very engaging, and another one thought the film should be longer. Have you guys considered making, because it's only an 11-minute film, have you considered making it a feature or a feature documentary? And that's one question. I'll ask that to you, Jeff.
Okay. Well, that's really exciting to hear because based on the interviews that Ann Newman did, our investigative journalist on our team, who, based on her interviews with people, wrote a script that is basically taken directly from her interviews. So the stories that you hear in the film are really from the people who lived them. And so the interviews were really long, and they're really fascinating, and they cover a number of topics, not only debt, but issues that people have had with bankruptcy, and the conditions that lead them to that, and how they address it. And there's just so much in these interviews that it's true that this film is really just skimming the surface and looking for a set of issues and concerns about debt collection lawsuits.
Well, you know, I just got the 1 minute sign, but I'm going to ask our production team if we can ask one more question. And I thought, would the film be an animated film? Was the selection of, was it meant to be an animated film to preserve the identity of the individuals, or was it an aesthetic choice, or both? I ask that to both of you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that partly it is that you know, we wanted to preserve people's identity given the topic of the film. And I think what really, the best moment in the entire production for me was after we recorded the voiceovers with wonderful actresses. I played back some of that to Ann Newman, who also plays herself in the film. And when she heard Vivia Font's voiceover for Sarah, the main character, we both got goosebumps, because she said, this takes me right back to those phone conversations with Sarah. And so that's when I felt like we closed the loop at capturing that experience and what it was like. So when people see the film, it'll be like, you know, sort of a visual or, you know, indexical, you know, real life documentary, because it is really true to their experiences.
Yeah, because you marry animation with documentary, and I think that was something we don't really see that often, and it was really well done. So kudos to both of you.
Thank you.
Well, folks, we've run out of time, but I wanted to let you know we will be doing this screening. Shame on You will be the short playing before another documentary called Altona by a filmmaking team from British Columbia and Canada. And it's a really great double bill. And the program will be taking place online for 24 hours on Saturday, June 1st, so that's our opening weekend. And then we'll be in person at 5 p.m. And both these nice gentlemen will be there to do a Q&A with the audience, so please come and join us. Again, if you need more information, you go to njfilmfest.com, you click on current events, and click that red button for the 2024 New Jersey International Film Festival, where you can get complete information about our festival. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me. It was really enlightening.
Yeah,
thank you.
Dear Fred and Jeff, you asked me to interview people who have had interactions with the courts regarding debt for a short documentary. I thought, how do I find them?